Alrighty, folks, welcome to my Major League Baseball free pick video here today for Saturday, July 20th, 2024. Happy Saturday to you. Hopefully you had a great start to your weekend. And of course, my name is Brock Page. I've been dishing out free sports picks on YouTube since 2016. And if you want to see which one of these free plays on this video that I actually like the best, my daily best play costs just 6 cents a day for 30 days of service on my premium site. And with that, folks, let's go ahead and dive right into some free content. We're going to start off with the Cardinals at the Braves, Game 1. They got rained out yesterday, so we're going to see a doubleheader. Game 1 is a 1 o'clock Eastern first pitch. Now, Atlanta's minus $1.55 in Game 1. I have not seen a total posted for that game, so the over and under is currently off the board. Looks like Charlie Morton on the bump for the Braves, Kyle Gibson for St. Louis. And even though Gibby's got a solid win-loss record, he does come into today's game with an ERA in the 4s. The righty's also got a 1.36 whip. Of course, at the plate, the Cards are having a tough time producing runs. They're in the bottom 10 in runs per game in their travels. And they're going to face Charlie Morton, who's got 97 strikeouts and a 1.22 whip. Of course, at the dish, the Braves do a nice job of getting base runners at Truist Park. They're currently in the top 5 in the National League in hits per game at home. Marcell Ozuna leads the roster in hits, 3rd in the league in RBI. And out of these teams' last 10 gatherings, the Braves have scored 50 total runs during that time frame. Give me Atlanta minus 155 in Game 1. Next matchup, little divisional game here. Rays-Yankees 105 East. The Yankees are minus 155, totals 8 runs. Nestor Cortes for the Yankees, Taj Bradley for Tampa Bay. And Bradley's having a solid year for the Rays. He's got an ERA of 2.90 along with a 1.11 whip. And out of 68-plus innings on the hill, the righties punched out 85 batters already. And they're taking on a Yankee club who's had a tough time covering at home. I'm talking about the run line, of course. Having a tough time covering the run line at Yankee Stadium. They're just 5-8 against the number in their divisional home games this year. They also have a losing record against the number in all of their contests at Yankee Stadium. And out of their last 7 Nestor Cortes starts, the Bombers actually took the outright loss in all of those games except for one. Now, injury-wise, Stanton and Trevino are on the report here for New York. Yandy Diaz questionable for the Rays. 3 out of Tampa Bay's last 4 road games did stay under the total. They're also 8-2 to the under in their last 10 at any location. Now, 7 out of the Yankees' last 10 outings fell under the line themselves. Give me Tampa Bay plus 1.5, under 8. Next game, Tigers, Blue Jays, 3:07 Eastern first pitch. Toronto's minus $1.35, totals 8 runs. Yusei Kikuchi for the Blue Jays, Reese Olson for Detroit. And don't let Olson's record fool you. He's definitely had a solid year on the bump. The righty's got an ERA of 3.30 along with a 1.18 whip. As a team, the Tigers have played some really good, baseball over the last several weeks. They got the W in 8 out of their last 10, and they averaged 5.8 runs a game during that time frame. And they're facing Yusei Kikuchi, who's just 4-8 on the year himself with an ERA of 4.42. When the Blue Jays play at home, bad things tend to happen. They currently have a losing record in their own building, and they're in the bottom 5 in run production at home. Now, injury-wise, Bo Bichette's questionable for the Blue Jays. Javi Baez day-to-day for Detroit. And 6 out of the Tigers' last 10 gatherings with Toronto did fall under the total. So if you're into historical trends, plenty of unders to go around. Give me the Tigers plus $1.15, under 8. Next game, Angels Athletics, 4:07 Eastern start time. Oakland's minus $1.35 at home, totals 9 runs. Mitch Spence for the A's. Let's try to say this name, Jack Kakanowitz for Los Angeles. And as bad as this Angel pitching staff has been, they've oddly done a nice job on the road. They're allowing under 7.6 hits a game in their travels. They're facing an Oakland club who definitely strikes out a lot, and they certainly do not get a lot of, base runners. These guys are averaging only 7.6 hits a game at home. Actually, it's just 7.6 hits a game anywhere. And of course, on the mound, Mitch Spence has a losing record and an ERA close to 5. Now, injury-wise, Ruiz and Soderstrom are on the report for Oakland. Luis Guillorme questionable for the Angels. When it comes to the total, the A's have gone 16 and 11 to the under this year in their divisional ball games. Give me the Angels plus $1.15, under 9. Next game, Mets Marlins, 4:10 Eastern start time. The Mets are minus $1.75, totals 8.5. Luis Severino for the Mets, Rod Munoz for Miami. Now, Munoz is just 1-4 on the season with an ERA of 5.47. Of course, at the plate, the Marlins have been awful. They're averaging fewer runs a game than any other lineup in the National League. And they're facing Luis Severino, who's 6-3 on the year with an ERA of 3.78. He also has 81 strikeouts and a 1.19 whip. But the biggest strength of this Mets organization this season has been their road bats. These guys lead the major leagues in runs per game away from home. Francisco Lindor leads the organization in hits. Brandon Nimmo's got the most RBI. When it comes to the injury list, Starling Marte's on the report for New York. Dane Myers for Miami. Out of 9 total starts out of Rod Munoz for Miami this season, the under cashed in 67% of those outings. Giving the Mets minus 1.5, under 8.5 runs. All right, next matchup, Phillies-Pirates, 6:40 p.m. East. Philadelphia's $1.55, totals 8.5. Chris Sanchez for the Phils, Luis Ortiz for Pittsburgh. And even though Ortiz is having a good year, he's certainly backed by a lackluster lineup of hitters. The Pirates are in the bottom 5 of the National League in runs per game at home. And they're going to face Christopher Sanchez, who's 7-4 with an ERA in the 2s. And even if Sanchez struggles, the Phils are always, in it with this lineup. They're currently the 3rd highest run-producing team in the major leagues. Alec Boehm leads the roster in hits and RBI. He's actually 4th in the big leagues in runs batted in. Bryce Harper's got the most home runs in the lineup, OPS of 974. Give me the Phillies, minus 155, over 8.5. All right, next game, Reds-Nationals, 6:45 East. Washington's $1.20, totals 8.5. Mackenzie Gore for the Nats, Nick Lodolo for Cincinnati. And Lodolo's been solid for most of the season. He's 8-3 with an ERA of 3.33. But the lefty's also got 81 strikeouts and a 1.12 whip. And of course, this Cincy pitching staff has been impossible to hit against when they travel. As a matter of fact, the Reds allow fewer hits a game on the road than any other staff in the game. And they're facing Mackenzie Gore, who's 6-8 on the hill with an ERA in the 4s. Of course, at the plate, the Nats are definitely having problems scoring runs in the nation's capital. They're in the bottom 10 in runs per game on their own field. Now, injury-wise, Joey Gallo is still on the report for Washington. Maley and Friedel for Cincinnati. 6 out of the Reds' last 10 ball games did get over the total. Meanwhile, Washington went 60% to the over in their last 10 themselves. Give me the Reds plus $1, over 8.5. Next game, Orioles-Rangers, 7:05 Eastern first pitch. Baltimore's minus $1.15, totals 8 runs. Grayson Rodriguez for the O's, Max Scherzer for the Rangers. Now, Texas has, really, they haven't performed all that well at the plate for Scherzer. Through 27-plus innings of work this year, the righties got only 1 recorded win. And through his handful of starts this year, the Rangers were actually held to under 3.1 runs a game during that time frame. Now, that's also been a problem for Texas at Globe Life Field. The Rangers are a bottom 10 run-producing lineup in their own building. And they're going to face Grayson Rodriguez, who's 11-4 with the O's with 112 strikeouts. But even if Rodriguez gets shelled here today, the O's are pretty much always in it offensively. They're actually leading the American League right now in runs per game while traveling. Gunnar Henderson's got the third most homers in the Bigs, sixth highest OPS. And Anthony Santander, he's got the club lead in RBI, 26 homers on the year for him. Now, 3 out of Baltimore's last 4 road games got over the total. Meanwhile, the Rangers went 60% to the over in their last 10 at any location. Give me Baltimore minus $1.15, over 8. Next matchup, little divisional game here, White Sox-Royals. That'll be a 7:10 Eastern first pitch at Kauffman Stadium. KC's the $2 favorite at home, totals 8.5. Brady Singer for the Royals, Jonathan Cannon for Chicago. Now, Cannon's recorded only 1 win on the year with an ERA of 4.41. And of course, at the plate, the White Sox are the lowest run-producing team in the major leagues. They're facing Brady Singer here today, who's got an ERA of 3.20, along with 99 strikeouts. And out of the Royals' last 10 gatherings with Chicago, their pitching has been immaculate. I know the White Sox don't hit all that well, but, the Royals have held Chicago to just 2.1 runs a game in their last 10 gatherings. But I'll tell you what, it ain't just all pitching either. The Royals have consistently pounded the baseball this year at Kauffman Stadium. They average the second most runs per game at home in the major leagues. Bobby Witt Jr. has got the second highest qualifying batting average in the big leagues, 10th most RBI. And Salvi Perez has an on-base percentage of .342. Now, 6 out of the Royals' last 10 ball games did fall under the total. Meanwhile, Chicago went 7-3 to the under in their last 10. Give me the Royals minus 1.5, under 8.5 runs. The next game, Brewers-Twins, 7:10 Eastern start time. Minnesota's minus $1.30 at Target Field, total 7.5. Pablo Lopez on the mound for the Twins, Freddie Peralta for Milwaukee. Now, the righty Peralta's got 130 strikeouts on the year, along with a 1.19 whip. These Brewer pitchers have certainly done a nice job on the bump this season. They're in the top 5 in runs allowed per game. Of course, at the dish, the Brewers have been equally as impressive for the most part. William Contreras has the most hits on the roster. Christian Yelich hits .326 with an OPS in the 900s. They're facing Pablo Lopez, who's allowed his fair share of runs this year. Now, along with 7 recorded losses, the righty Lopez has an ERA of 5.11. And these Minnesota pitchers collectively, they have had a tough time with Milwaukee in recent gatherings. The Brewers were able to average over 5.1 runs a game in their last 10 head-to-head meetings. Now, injury-wise, Carlos Correa is questionable for the Twins. Gary Sanchez on the injury report for Milwaukee. The Brewers did go 60% to the over in their last 10. Meanwhile, 3 out of Minnesota's last 4 at Target Field got over the line. Give me Milwaukee plus $1.10, over 7.5. All right, next matchup, Padres-Guardians, 7:10 Eastern start time. Both teams are minus $1.10, pretty much a coin flip. Totals 8. Gavin Williams for the Guardians, Dylan Cease for San Diego. And despite a gazillion strikeouts for Cease, he's recorded 8 losses, and he's got an ERA just about in the 4s. He's one little smidge shy of that particular mark there. Now, as a team, the Padres have certainly had a tough time getting the W, over the past handful of weeks. As a matter of fact, out of their last 8 ball games, the Padres took the loss in all of those contests except for one. And they're facing a Cleveland squad who's definitely done a nice job in interleague play. As a matter of fact, they're winning 80% of their contests against the National League at Progressive Field. Of course, at the plate, the Guardians continue to score a bunch at home. They're in the top 3 in runs per game in their own building. Stephen Kwan leads the league in batting average, OPS in the 900s. And Jose Ramirez, he's the team leader in homers, second most RBI in the major leagues. Give me Cleveland minus $1.10, over 8. All right, next matchup, Diamondbacks Cubs, 7:15 Eastern first pitch. Arizona's minus $1.35, totals 8 runs. Zach Gallen for Arizona, Kyle Hendricks for Chicago. Now the righty Hendricks has really hurt this Cubbies organization on the bump this year. He's just 2-7 with Chicago with an ERA of 6.78. And even if he throws well, he might not get a whole lot of run support. The Cubs definitely strike out a lot at the dish, and they are a bottom 5 hit-producing team at home. They're facing Zach Gallen, who continues to be solid. The righty's 6-5 with an ERA in the 3s. Of course, at the plate, Arizona's averaging more runs a game than any other lineup except for one. Christian Walker's in the top 10 in both homers and RBI. Ketel Marte's got the most hits in the clubhouse. Of course, as a team, the D-backs won 7 out of their last 10. They scored 59 total runs during that time frame. Now, total-wise, Zach Gallen's last 3 starts for the D-backs did get over the total. Meanwhile, Arizona went 8-2 to the over in their last 10. Give me Arizona minus 135, over 8. Next game, Red Sox Dodgers, 7:15 Eastern start time. The LA Dodgers are minus 135, totals 9 runs. Justin Wrobleski for the Dodgers, Brian Bayo for Boston. And as good as Bayo's been this season, he's definitely allowed his fair share of runs. He currently has himself an ERA in the 5s. And that's certainly bad news going up against this Dodger lineup. These guys are one of the best run-producing teams in the game. As a matter of fact, LA's currently in the top 5 in the bigs and runs per game on average. Of course, Shohei Ohtani's got the most home runs in the National League. OPS in the thousands. Freddie Freeman's walked 57 times and has an on-base percentage of .394. Give me the Dodgers minus 135, over 9. Next contest, Cardinals-Braves, Game 2 of the doubleheader, 7:20 Eastern first pitch. Atlanta's the $1.20 favorite in Game 2, totals 8.5. Bryce Elder on the bump for the Braves, Sonny Gray for St. Louis. And even though we took the Braves in Game 1, I actually think the Cards should be able to split here and get the job done in Game 2. They've got a 9-win Sonny Gray on the mound, who's got 121 strikeouts and a 1.05 whip. And the Cards are taking on Bryce Elder in Game 2, who really just hasn't been great for the Braves this year. The righty's just 1-3 on the season with an ERA close to 6. But when it comes to the total in this one, Atlanta did see 6 out of their last 10 stay under the total. And oddly enough, 5 out of Elder's last 7 starts stayed under the line as well. Give me the Cardinals plus $1, under 8.5 in Game 2. Next matchup, Giants-Rockies, NL West action, 8:10 Eastern start time. Now, San Francisco's the $1.75 favorite at Coors Field away from home, totals 10.5. Logan Webb on the mound for the Giants, Kyle Freeland for Colorado. And even though Freeland's numbers are horrible, the Rockies got the W in his last 3 straight starts. They actually averaged 5 runs a game at the plate, during those starts I just mentioned. And even though San Francisco's Logan Webb has had a good year on the mound for the Giants, he has recorded 7 losses and does not have a winning record. And I'll tell you what, this San Francisco pitching staff, when they travel, bad things do tend to happen. They're in the bottom 5 in runs allowed per game while traveling. Now, injury-wise, Luciano's on the injury report for San Francisco. Brian Jones, Amador, and Beck for Colorado. 7 out of the Rockies' last 10 ball games did get over the line. Meanwhile, San Francisco's 65% to the over as the road team. Give me the Rockies plus 1.5, over 10.5 runs. And with that, folks, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for the video. Astros-Mariners, 9:40 p.m. East. Seattle's minus $1.20, total 7 runs. George Kirby for the Mariners. Framber Valdez for Houston. And unfortunately, folks, I cannot give you a free pick for this game. No free pick, that's a premium selection. All right, quick pick recap. Braves minus 155, Game 1. Tampa Bay plus 1.5, under 8. And if you want to see which one of these free plays on this video that I actually like the best, my daily best play on my premium site costs just 6 cents a day for 30 days worth of access. Detroit plus $1.15 under 8. Angels plus $1.15 under 9. Mets, New York Mets, minus 1.5 under 8.5 runs. Phillies minus 155 over 8.5. Cincinnati Reds plus $1 over 8.5. Baltimore minus $1.15 over 8 runs. Royals minus 1.5 under 8.5. Milwaukee plus $1.10 over 7.5. Guardians minus $1.10 over 8. Diamondbacks minus 135 over 8 runs. Dodgers minus 135 over 9. Cardinals plus $1 under 8.5 in game 2. Rockies plus 1.5 over 10.5 runs. And I have no free pick available for you in the Astros-Mariners game. And with that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my premium site. Now, if you do end up getting a membership here today on patreon.com/BrockPage, just a friendly reminder, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. That's why I always tell folks that Chairman Package, it's a full access, all-inclusive membership. Gives you access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. Most importantly, folks, got to thank you for joining me right here on the free video. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, folks, happy Saturday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my premium site at patreon.com/BrockPage.